This is KLEAN Radio.
Welcome everybody out there listening to KLEAN Radio. My co-host with the most, Andrew Spanswick, is not in tonight, but we have a great show for you set up. We want to talk about tonight, hashtag sober dreams. And what are your sober dreams? And I don't mean when you sleep at night, what are you dreaming about? I want to know what it is that you want out of life when you're sober. And I think that's an extremely important topic. My co-host with the most tonight is living her sober dreams. It's the amazingly talented Erica Spiegelman. She's an author, addiction counselor, consultant, spokesperson. That's Erica Spiegelman.
Thank you, Judah.
And welcome back to KLEAN Radio.
I'm so happy to be back. It's been so long, and I was really missing talking about all these important things like sober dreams and kind of, you know, getting to the place where you and I are both sober and actually being clear about our intentions with our lives. And I think that's what a sober dream really is. So.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's a very important topic because, you know, when I was drinking, and I'm sure when you were drinking, you plan all these things.
Right.
You know, it's the bar stool dreams, or if you're using, or you know, it's not,
whatever
you know,
it is. Yeah.
Whatever it is. And I used to call them the bar stool dreams. It's like I would think, this is what I'm going to do tomorrow.
Totally.
This is what I'm going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow never came, and I never did it until I got sober.
Right. It's hard to take action when, you know, you're really not moving in your life. You know, there's no way to put one foot in front of the other as you're still in a haze of, you know, of ethanol alcohol pumping through your veins or drugs or whatever kind of, you know, unhealthy behavior you're doing. It's really hard to, where do you begin? How do you start? And you really can't start until you're healthy physically, mentally, spiritually. And I think that's what happens when you stop using substances.
So go to facebook.com/KLEAN Radio. Post to us. Buddy's responding to your post. Tell us what your sober dreams are. Go to @KLEAN Radio on Twitter. Apparently, Erica, you have a lot of people that follow you on Instagram.
On Instagram, yeah, Instagram.
I sound like I'm 90 when I talk about these things. I'm like, go to the Instagram.
Go to the Instagram. Well,
and yeah.
You know, the thing is that there's a lot of young people out there, I find, on Instagram and Twitter, and they're hungry. They're hungry for knowledge, and they're hungry to actually, you know, have some resources of a way to like engage in some discussions. And so this is why I love KLEAN Radio, because people, those young people actually could call in, ask us questions, write, you know, they could write us questions
They could do whatever
Facebook,
they want.
Yeah, and just somehow try to get their voice heard and their story heard. So
say hashtag sober dreams because it sounds so much better than when I say it.
Hashtag sober dreams.
Thank you. And how long are you sober, Erica?
7 years.
So you're sober 7 years. In that 7 years, you've lived a lot.
Yeah.
You know, you're coming out with a book.
Coming out with a book.
Your published
in 6
book.
months, published by a publishing house.
Yes.
So, yeah, and it's all about rewiring your brain to actually create healthy habits and live authentically. And I wanted to write about it just to share my own story, which, you know, Judah, you and I always have this discussion. We got sober in different ways, individually.
Yes.
So I want everyone else out there to understand that there's a path for them. It doesn't have to be one way. You know, a lot of people give up when they get frustrated. Like they're like, I can't do meditation, or I can't do AA, or this is not working for me. And so the book is about really like having you find your own individual path to sobriety. Yours was different than mine, though you and I have a lot in common also. So that's why it's good to have some kind of text out there so that people could actually create their own recipe.
And it's also important, I mean, because before you got sober, I mean, you're a very bright girl. You went to college. Could you have written a book?
No, I mean, even though I got by, you know, we talk about this, I got by, and on the outside, the mask, you know, I could put on a mask and look like my life's together, but no. Towards the end, there's no way I would have been able to write or read even like that. I lost my interest in that completely.
And if you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio, so give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. Talking about sober dreams tonight, living your fantasies. It's one of the topics we're talking about, but something you just brought up, which is taking off the mask.
Yeah.
Which is wearing the mask. And recently, it was reported that there's a band out there, Gwar, and the lead singer had recently died, but it was reported that he died of a heroin overdose. He was 51 years old, and his name was Dave Brocky, and he wore a mask on stage, and literally he wore a mask on stage. Years ago, I used to go to this 12-step meeting, and it was in a bar at noon, and there were all these pictures all over the wall, and it was pictures of dead rock stars. And it was like Morrison and all these people. And I remember, you know, there was a romantic tinge to it.
Right,
you know,
glorifying them.
It was glorifying it. And I remember I remember thinking we don't romanticize life enough. You know, it's like we took these, you know, you're taking all these pictures of dead rock stars and we constantly talk about them. Everybody knows when Jim Morrison, what age he died.
Right.
Everybody knows what age Hendrix died because same age. But there's like all of them that died
Janis
at 20,
Joplin,
the 27-year-old crew.
River Phoenix.
Right.
Yeah.
All of them know it. But nobody wants to talk about the people that have lived good lives. You know, we don't want to romanticize life enough. We don't want to talk about it. It's like nobody's allowed to age.
Right.
Nobody's allowed to get old.
Right. Get older. I mean, Maya Angelou just died, and she, you know, she's done so much for women and spirituality and, you know, staying true to yourself. And that was like the first person, I think, in a long time that the media even covered.
Right.
You know, and yeah, you're right. They're so glorified when people die young. And we've lost Philip Seymour Hoffman recently. And we had, you know, we've just had so many people in the media that...
Because it's not the fun topic to talk about. Nobody,
Yeah.
you know, VH1 used to you know, where are they now?
Yeah.
It was never meant to be like, oh, they're doing great.
Right.
You know,
right.
they're married, they have kids, they still play music, they're doing great. It was always the sadness. But let's get back to this about sobriety. You know,
Yeah.
he died when he was 51 years old. He overdosed. And I think a lot of people do have a problem like you were talking about. It's a very scary thing, taking the mask off.
Yeah, it's very scary because, well, especially someone like him that you probably had a couple of personas. You know, when you're an artist like that and you're on stage, you had to portray this kind of rock star personality. And then when does that stop? When you get home, you know, and especially if you're using drugs, you come so far away from your true, authentic self that this man probably got lost in what his, you know, what the idea of him was instead of who he truly was. And I think that's, you know, that happens a lot with musicians for sure. And a lot of people in the spotlight, they get caught up, actors, musicians, someone that's creative like that. They get caught up in the idea themselves.
And I think that's most people though when they're using is finding one's true self. You know, who are you? You know, you're this person, you've been drinking for a long time, you've been using for a long time, and that's your mask.
Right.
And the hardest thing is then revealing yourself.
Well, and then after all the shame and trauma that usually you put yourself through from using, you know, like this man for 51, you know, until he's 51 years old, I'm sure he used for
many
decades.
years, yeah.
You know, and I'm sure he caused his family a lot of pain, himself a lot of pain. And so that's also really hard to face that. It's like, you know, it's interesting. I talk to clients about this all the time, how much trauma and shame we cause ourselves during our addiction. Like, you know, obviously we've had things that gone on in our childhoods, but really when you're actively using like that, and the fights you get into and the friendships that are lost and the relationships that are broken and the isolation that goes on, it's really hard to climb out of that hole on top of everything else.
So if you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio. That's Erica Spiegelman, author, counselor, therapist, pretty much Friend. Well, it's debatable these days. I'm joking. She's a very close friend. And so give us a call. The number's 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. Actually, Patrick and I were joking around with you before the show that you always, you know, you take pictures of all, you know, the vacations you go on. But we were joking, but in a sense, you know, when you're sober, those are things you get to do.
Yeah.
You get to go on vacation.
I get to enjoy my life.
You get to enjoy your life. And you get to, you know, like getting back to sober dreams. When you're drinking, most people aren't vacationing because that's your alcohol money. That's your drug money.
Right.
That's the idea of like spending money to go on vacation is...
To go hike in the sun for a day. I mean, and my vacations aren't vacation. I mean... Sometimes they are, but like this past weekend, I went with family to Las Vegas for a day, you know. But we were outside, we were being active, like we were doing things, we were having fun, and obviously, I would have never have done that when I was drinking. I was isolating. I was not wanting to be around my family or be questioned about my behavior. So yeah, there's a lot of life that you lose when you're, you know.
How is that? Because I've known you since you're sober.
Yeah.
What did Erica look like before she got sober?
I isolated a lot towards the end. Towards the end, I isolated a lot. I was not physically healthy. I didn't really care about, you know, interacting with people. My grandmother was really sick with cancer, and I remember, you know, really being upset about that, but really isolating from my family and not being there. And I'm very present for my family, and I'm there for everybody. So for me not to be there was a very telling sign that something was wrong. Even I knew something was wrong. So I was not a happy person, and I was absolutely wearing masks, a couple masks, you know, enough to just get by. You know, it wasn't fun. It was very spiritless.
I can't, and that's the thing. And I
yeah.
think sometimes when we meet people when they're sober, and that's the amazing thing about sobriety is it's
Right.
very hard for us to imagine.
Right.
People always look at me and they go, how could you have been an alcoholic? Well, they don't say it to me as much, but to somebody like you, you say, how could you have been an alcoholic? You're bright, you're attractive, you have all these things going for you.
Right.
But the thing about addiction is it doesn't care.
It doesn't care. We were just talking about this, a friend and I recently. I just found out another client of mine passed away. I've lost like 5 clients in the past 2 months, which is a reality when you're a counselor in this field. And, someone said to me, it just doesn't care what kind of ethnicity, how old you are, what kind of job you had, what family you came from. It absolutely does not discriminate. That's for sure. And it's really important to understand that, people think they're protected either by their family or their youth or that they're young for a little while. But honestly, your life is very delicate and can be taken in a heartbeat. So it's really important to be grateful for, at least I'm very grateful for the health I've found, and everyone should try to find it somewhere.
And if you just tuned in, you are listening to KLEAN Radio. That's Erica Spiegelman, author, therapist, guru. And give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. We're talking about sober fun tonight, so that's hashtag sober fun. And I think it's important, though. The reason I want to talk about that a little bit more is because I think when people are out there that are driving, the addiction, it leaves you very hopeless. It leaves the family members very hopeless, as I'm sure your family was, as I'm sure my family was.
Right.
And it puts you in this hole of just it's almost like you want to give up.
Yeah.
And in your case, 7 years later, you have a book coming out.
Yeah.
That's an amazing transformation.
It is, and I have to be the first to admit that and be proud of myself. And I tell my clients this all the time. You have to start with small goals and be proud of yourself for making your bed, doing your laundry, going to a meeting, getting a sponsor. You have to start with being your own best friend, being your own champion. And so I had to start developing self-love, self-compassion. Because when you're hopeless and living in despair, those things aren't present. So, it's about, as you're on the radio. You've done a lot for the sober community. You're an advocate for this treatment
center. I'm on
center.
the radio?
I'm just saying, you've had a lot of things that have happened, and I'm sure it started with smaller goals, right? We don't just say, we could have larger goals in mind, but I think it's important for our clients, for people listening out there that are trying to get sober, start small.
I used to hear people say, it was one of the best suggestions I ever got. Somebody used to say, do your 12-step job and things will get better. I don't want to say what program they said it, but they used to just say it incessantly. Do your 12-step job and things will get better. And you can't see it, right? Like you can't see as you're new and you're struggling. It's so hard to see things are going to get better.
Right.
Because that leap of faith, that leap that you need to take. But slowly but surely things started getting better. I started taking suggestions, even though, and I couldn't see. That was the blind faith. I didn't know how this would get me to that.
How could you know, right?
And that's also the amazing part of the journey.
That's the beauty in the journey.
And that really is the beauty in the journey. And I used to find it so annoying when people would say, enjoy the journey. And I'd be like, well, get on my journey.
Right.
We'll see if you're actually enjoying it.
Yeah.
But talk about sober dreams, and I'm not just like, I've jumped out of an airplane sober. And I'm scared of heights. And I don't recommend it for people, but it was, and not that was a dream of mine, but it was just, like you said, I was an isolator, right? So my idea, if you would ever ask me a question, I would say no.
Yeah.
Do you want to go do this?
Right.
No. Which you're constantly saying to me. And
Stop it.
no, but it's been fun, and those dreams have been,
Yeah, that's the thing but it's one little dream, one little like goal, and then you get it done, and then you say to yourself, oh, I could do that. I could jump out of a plane, or I could, write a book, or I could get it, or be on the radio, whatever it is that you want to do. It's all possible, but you have to be living with self-respect and self-compassion.
And the most important thing is you have to not drink or use.
Yes.
And that's where the journey starts. And if you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio. Let's get to Anita calling from Hawthorne. Welcome to KLEAN Radio, Anita.
Hi, Anita.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, I'm doing okay. I really have a question.
Yes.
I don't recall, but I stopped drinking 6 to 8 weeks ago.
Okay.
I didn't write it down, so I don't know.
That's okay.
And it was something I was thinking about doing. Oh, pardon me, I'm out of breath.
That's okay.
It was something I thought I must do because it cannot continue. And I really didn't plan it. And one day I just stopped drinking. And now, 6 to 8 weeks later, the idea of having a drink I find repulsive. Okay, good. I got over that part, and I always will. But I feel dreadful.
Well,
You feel what?
she feels dreadful.
Dreadful.
Anita, have you, other than stopping drinking, have you done anything
Have
else?
you reached
have you
out
reached
or
out to people, or you
have support?
Yeah,
from
therapy,
family?
12-step
First
meetings.
reaching out I've done.
You what?
This is the first reach out I've done.
That is absolutely amazing, Anita. What you're doing is, and I got to tell you, I was talking with Patrick before the show, who helps make this show possible. We were talking about the hardest thing for an alcoholic or a drug addict sometimes to say is, I need help.
Absolutely.
It's the 3 hardest words. We're constitutionally predisposed.
Well,
Figure it out on our
I
own.
knew in the back of my mind that nobody can help me. I have to help myself.
Right. But here's the bit of the thing with that, Anita. How long did you drink for?
Well, I started drinking heavily in 2002.
Okay, so that's 12 years of just heavy drinking.
Yes.
That's a lot of heavy drinking, and
Yes.
then
And Anita, because of the amount of time you've been drinking, I'm sure there's a lot that has gone on that has bothered you, or that you may feel embarrassed, ashamed of, that you're going to want to process it with another human being. So Judah and I we're always encouraging people to either join a program or get a therapist, or there's so much group therapy, there's outpatient treatment centers, there's inpatient treatment centers. There's so much out there, and there's so many resources. You're gonna want people to hold you up and hold your hand through this, because you may feel dreadful because you're not understanding or processing it the way that maybe you should. I mean, it's good that you're being abstinent from actually ingesting alcohol, but at the same time, to be sober, to be healthy, is so much more than just putting down the drink.
Oh, yeah.
So the question is how...
I'm telling you, I will never touch another drink again.
Right, but here's the thing, Anita. Alcohol and drugs are just but a symptom. And sometimes they're but a symptom of what else was going on, that why you drank since 2000.
My husband died.
Right.
My dog passed away. You know, they were so near and dear to me. And that's what happened.
Well, do you want some resources?
Yeah.
I mean, we could provide you
We could
resources.
help you tonight. If you're willing to, Anita, we could get you the help you need.
Well, I don't know if I'm ready. I'm a very private person.
You called the radio show, Anita. That is definitely the first step
What
in
is?
saying you might be ready.
What?
That you called.
That you reached out.
That you reached out.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because I got to tell you, Anita, I used to call radio shows when I was drinking because I didn't want to be alone.
Oh.
So I used to call up sports stations in New York.
Oh, no, I isolated completely.
Yeah.
But how does it feel now to
Yeah.
be talking to us about it? I'm sober myself. I stopped drinking many years ago, and
Yeah, 7. I heard you.
Yeah.
Yes.
See?
How does it feel?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm proud of myself.
You should be, Anita.
I just feel sick.
And Anita, here's the thing. You quit drinking, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
Now let's get to the next phase of your
Right.
life.
Okay.
Let's get to Anita living her sober dreams, being happy. You know, the greatest thing, the greatest thing about being sober, Anita, is that we're happy.
Yeah.
Anita, and it's also about finding things that are going to fulfill you now. I don't want you to be there living and feeling dreadful. There's so much to life, and
Yeah.
I'm sure there's so much
I know.
that you're passionate about. So it's really important for you to even speak with a counselor. And
May I tell you something very quick?
Yes.
Sure.
I drank so heavily in the end before I stopped drinking. I would wake up at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning, and that would be my breakfast.
Yeah.
As they,
I would just drink until I went to bed.
how I got to
you're
tell
not
you, Anita,
alone.
it's
Can I tell
amazing
you?
that you were able to stop drinking by yourself. I
Yeah.
got to tell
I
you.
did. I'm a very strong
Yeah.
person.
I know, but I know you're a strong person, Anita. And the reason I want to say this is because we have a lot of people out there that are listening, and I don't always suggest that because it could be very dangerous.
Yeah.
Especially coming off alcohol, you have the ability, you could potentially die.
Right.
And thank
well,
God you
that's
didn't.
what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
But it's been about 8 weeks.
And hence why you're not having trouble probably breathing and certain issues.
Yeah.
Anita, can you do me a favor? I want to put you on hold. Anthony is going to get on the phone with you, and we're going to give you any assistance you need.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so just hold on.
Both of you, thank you.
Oh, you're
Thank you,
welcome.
Anita.
Thank you
Anita,
for calling
and
in.
I want you to just hold on. We're gonna get you the help you need, no matter what.
Thank you.
Thank you. So just hold.
Yeah.
And that was
Awesome.
Anita calling from Hawthorne. If you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. Somebody that's been drinking since 2012
Yeah.
and
2002.
2002.
12 years.
At 12 years. And here's the thing. She brought up such a good point because it's not just about the drinking.
Right.
And that's what people sometimes have such a hard time understanding.
Right.
Alcoholics, people that are drinking, or their family members, Erica, don't always understand. There's so much more after you put the bottle down.
Right. There's so much more. I mean, the whole thing is you could stay, you don't have to ingest the substance, whether that's the liquid or the drugs or whatever it is that you're doing. You put that aside, and then all of a sudden you have still the same behaviors. You're still isolating. You don't know how to reach out. You haven't talked to anybody. You've lost all your positive habits or positive things that you used to do. I mean, and also it sounds like, in her case, that she's really been on her own for so long that of course it's going to be hard for somebody to actually process everything on their own. That's why we really encourage people to get counseling or to go to a program, or even though she said that she's strong, which I hear all the time, people say, I got this, I'm strong, I can do it by myself.
Right.
It's
alcohol. You know what's amazing about alcoholics and addicts? They're some of the strongest people I've ever met in my life. Because when you listen to addicts and alcoholic stories, you had to be crazy tough to go through that.
Absolutely.
The one time you have to say surrender, I give up, I'm not tough anymore. I don't want to be tough. I don't want to be
Hardest
strong.
moment.
That's the hardest moment. That's the moment you get sober. So if everybody out there that's listening, all our fans, I want you to give us a call. Let's throw Anita some support.
Yeah.
The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. We're talking sober dreams tonight. When we come back from the break, I want to talk about 6 common fears. And Eric, I'm asking you this question. What are 6 common fears in addiction or recovery, in addiction recovery, and how to face them? The 6 common fears from people out there. And if you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio in the studio tonight with Erica Spiegelman. Give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about 6 fears in addiction recovery and how to face them.
Awesome.
The discussion continues at KLEAN Radio.
Are you or someone you care about addicted to drugs or alcohol? Addiction ruins lives and destroys families. Bring an end to the pain and suffering by calling KLEAN Treatment Centers. KLEAN has helped people from around the world break free by not only treating the addiction, but the underlying causes and providing vital aftercare so people can get clean and stay clean with no gimmicks and no false promises. If you need immediate assistance or just have questions, call KLEAN Treatment Centers for guidance. A much better life awaits.
Welcome back to KLEAN Radio. In studio tonight for Andrew is Erica Spiegelman, actor.
Oh, actor.
We're in LA, why not? You will be after your book comes out.
That's true.
I'm telling you, I see big things for you, little girl. And but in studio right now to tell us what's going on our Facebook, we posed hashtag what are your sober dreams?
Yeah.
Is Buddy Totten. What's cooking on Facebook, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great, So Ted posts, I want to improve my relationship with my wife who stuck me through over 23 years of using.
Wow. That's a good
And
one.
yeah, Allie says happiness and self-acceptance. And then Diego also commented he wants to go back to school and get his degree in business.
Awesome.
And that's amazing, actually,
Yeah.
because I know for you, Buddy, you too. You've been living your sober dreams. I mean,
Absolutely.
you know, Buddy is Buddy sober. He's broken his anonymity, so I'm not doing it. And but Buddy had an amazing job for years in the entertainment industry.
Sure, right.
And he wanted to help people.
Right.
And for the last 5 years, he's dedicated his life to helping people.
Absolutely.
And
That's wonderful.
And I can't think of a better thing is actualizing your dreams. Is
Yes.
actually how many times when you were drinking or you were using, buddy, did you say, I'm going to do this?
Oh, every day.
Yeah. And how
Broken
often did
record.
it happen?
Never.
Yeah.
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 It never does.
Never
No.
does.
It never does. Alcohol, drugs, they take away your fantasies. They take away your dreams. They just take it away.
I think
true.
they also just take away like even the idea that something else good could come to you, you know?
Which gets into, before the break, we had Anita calling in, and I want to, let's show the love to Anita. Give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. Show your support. We lost a couple calls, but show us your support for Anita. Give her, you know, she's going through this time right now. She's 6 to 8 weeks sober, and that's a scary time.
It's so scary. And, you know, when she said, oh, you know, like she almost said it in a way like, you know, no one will understand, but I get up and drink at 5 a.m. The funny and tragic part of that is that there's a lot of people that could relate to her,
Yeah.
you know? So
Oh, absolutely.
I hear this. I felt the same way too. Like no one was going to relate to me if I share with them, or if I reach out, people are going to, you know, think I'm crazy or
And
something.
that's why we talk about why it's so important to go to 12-step meetings, because you hear these common stories. Anita will be at a 12-step meeting and share that I drank, you know, with my cereal. You know, I
Right,
poured a
right.
bottle of Jack Daniels in. Where
Right.
anywhere else in the world, if you say that, they look at you like you're nuts.
Right.
At a 12-step meeting, everybody goes, yeah, me too.
It is a great way to feel part of and to have people relate to you and not feel so bad.
So
Absolutely.
six common fears in addiction and recovery and how to face them. What would you have thought some are?
Well,
I'm asking you. You don't have to read it. Don't read
Okay.
the cheat sheet. What would you have thought they are?
okay. So a common fear would be, I think failing, like a fear of failure.
Fear of
That's
failure is here. It's number 2.
Okay.
And this is by Psych Central.
Okay. Fear of having fun in sobriety, fear of dating,
Fear of being happy.
Yeah,
fear of rejection, which has to do with dating and,
Right.
you know, and not just dating, but fear of rejection goes into the topic of what we're talking about, because so many of us are scared to live our dreams because we're scared of that rejection.
Yeah, of course. And when you haven't actually had much going on in your life, then, you know, from past experiences, how do you even fathom that things can go well? That's why some people just have to take a leap of faith and try anything. And if you fall, you get back up.
That's right. And Buddy Totten, thank you so much for doing
Absolutely.
our Facebook. Brian out there, thank you so much too. If you just tuned in, you're listening to Clean Radio in studio tonight with Erica Spiegelman. Give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. Let's go to Mike calling from Portland. Welcome to Clean Radio, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Well, I'm a druggie, recovering for years,
Cool.
and thank God.
Yes.
I want to give a hoorah to Anita. That her call really touched me, And Anita, if you're still listening, I want you to hang in there. And God and some good people can really give you a hand with this. Okay. I have an Iraqi vet that I love with all my heart. Okay, he's 100% disabled, and he saw things at 19 over there that no 19-year-old should have to experience.
Right.
And he's gone to Texas for months. The VA sent him to Texas to get him dried out, and he was doing just wonderfully. My whole family and children, everybody that knows him, tries to do everything we can to let him know he's accepted and loved and cared for and all of that business, okay? But his father died and his mother's having problems, and he's jumped off the wagon.
Right.
And I'm one of the people that I told him early on that I will be calling you periodically, because I'm going to be I'm an old guy. I'm 74, okay, and been in the military and all of that business.
Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you very much. But the thing about it is I told him, you know, I'm not gonna coddle you or any of that business, and you're gonna have to accept that. And he said, okay. And so I've been doing that.
What are you conflicted with, or what is your...
I'm conflicted right now because he just this weekend he offloaded. Not at me. He went out and got plastered over it over at some people's house, and I found out about it. And you know what? First, it breaks my heart. Mm-hmm. It breaks my heart because I hate to see a young man like that.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible, Mike. And here's the thing: we have so many troops that are coming back right now, and the fear is, and it's a realistic fear, with suicide rates being up, with people with the PTSD and all that. It's terrifying, and I'm imagining you're terrified that he might kill himself or kill somebody else.
You know what? That's absolutely right.
And here's the thing: the VA is an amazing thing in many ways, but it's not. They're not trained to deal sometimes with alcoholism, addiction, PTSD in the right ways. So I'll tell you what, Mike, if there's anything we could do at KLEAN Treatment Centers, we have a facility up in Washington State. We're a dual diagnosed facility. We will do whatever it takes to help your friend.
But I guess I'm going to write it down, my little book here that I keep next to the phone. I just want a phone number in case it comes to the point where he will
get help. I'll tell you what, Mike, I'm going to put you on hold with Anthony. Anthony's going to get all your information, and I make you this promise, Mike, and I want to thank you for serving, and I want to thank your friend that's struggling right now for serving. Is a very passionate subject of ours, of veterans that are coming back with these illnesses. We will do whatever it takes to help him out.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, so just hang on, hang on.
We'll give you the number.
Anthony's going to stay on hold with you, and we're going to keep in touch with you. The thing is, Mike, you don't have to do this alone.
Okay.
And right now, I know you're going through this alone.
Well, my whole family is pretty much wants the very best for him. It's not like he doesn't have a support system, but
maybe some more professional help is appropriate at this point in his journey.
Well, I don't know, and that's why I called.
Yeah,
okay,
Mike,
good.
And let us be your advocates.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
let us
thank
do
you.
whatever it takes. So just hold on. Okay.
Thanks for calling.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. That was Mike calling from Portland, Oregon. I want to thank him for his service.
Yep, and for giving Anita some support.
And God, what he's talking about, what so many people are going through, so many of our troops that are coming back with addiction, with PTSD, with alcoholism, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. I mean, it's just terrifying. My father used to say to me, he wouldn't let me have the car, especially when I was drinking, because he used to go to me, I don't want you to have a loaded weapon in your hand.
Right.
And
but you're right. These people come back and there's a loaded weapon is their head. There's a lot going on.
And they have other loaded weapons.
And I mean, not to get into a whole nother discussion, but really the resources out there for people that come home or people that, are in the military there is none.
Well, we're going through that right now, this whole thing of people dying. We're the pros, let us deal with it.
Yeah.
And Mike, I promise you, with KLEAN, we will give your friend whatever helps you need. So thank you. And if you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio, so give us a call. The number is 800-222-5222. That's 800-222-5222. In studio instead of Andrew tonight is the amazingly talented Erica Spiegelman, one of my favorite people in the world.
So happy to be here. Thank you.
And I wanted to let's get to Donald calling from Canby, Oregon. Welcome to KLEAN Radio, Donald.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
I'm not sure I want to be on radio.
That's okay. Neither do we.
Too late. Welcome.
Well, that woman that called in a while ago that was very lonely and been drinking and that stuff.
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell you that I was a beer drinker. I didn't feel I was an alcoholic, but I went to the AA meeting, and I'll tell you that's the best thing in the world you could ever do, because when I went in there and listened to these guys, they've tried every meetings of everything in the world, and nothing helped them, and they went to this and stopped immediately. And I couldn't believe it, and it's so nice to go in there. I was very skeptical and scared.
Yeah.
And I went in there, and all these people were, I just thought, I don't know if I belong here. But after you're in there, you just become so friendly. They're all like brothers and sisters in there, and it's so fun.
It's so funny. Can I tell you what's amazing that you're talking about? Because one of the things we're talking about is the 6 common fears in addiction and recovery and how to face them. And number 5 on the list is fear of losing your identity.
Well, that's it. You got to say, hi, I'm Donald Chambers. I'm an alcoholic.
And you found your identity by saying that.
Donald, you just said it.
Me.
Yeah, right.
That bothered me. And I didn't think I was an alcoholic, because I could quit drinking beer for a day or 2 or 3 or 4 a week. But these guys, the stories they told, and it was hilarious. I loved it, and I loved going to those meetings, hearing their stories and everything. And, I walked out of there, and I never touched another beer. ever after.
That's amazing, and I'm sure Anita is still listening, Donald, and I'm sure your call's going to help.
Thanks for sharing that positive experience.
Yeah, thank you so much, Donald, because not enough people are hearing that positivity.
Right.
You know, we hear so many people
Again, back
talking
to the
about bad experiences. You know,
I'll tell you that AA is the greatest thing in the world.
That's great. And
Yes, it is.
you know, it's great. I know AA didn't pay you to say that, Donald.
No, nobody paid me to say that. I'm just telling that poor girl, if she'd go to AA, she would have some friends, and she wouldn't be lonely.
Right. It's a great community.
Donald, thank you so much for the call. Call back anytime.
Thanks,
Okay.
Donald.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. And if you just tuned in, that was Donald calling from Canby, Oregon, giving a shout-out to a previous caller, Anita, who's struggling. And, you know, I love hearing that. I love hearing stories about people like Donald going to a meeting and hearing something and, you know, even if whether it's going to a therapist and just, Erica, feeling not alone. So let's run down the 6 common fears people have addiction recovery and how to face them. One is, the biggest one is they have a fear of sobriety. Mm-hmm. They have a fear of taking off the mask.
Taking off the mask, you know, not enjoying their life or not enjoying a dinner or to travel or a wedding or a celebration. I mean, I have clients that are just, they're so scared. What am I going to do? How am I going to fit in? And there's a lot of social anxiety when, you know, you're used to drinking and you're used to being able to have something to make you loosen up a little bit. Yeah. So that is a fear, and that's a total legitimate fear.
And number 2 is fear of failure, and which is it's a great thing. You know, we're talking about fear of failure, and we were talking about this before the show. You're facing this right now. You know, in a sense, you have a book coming out.
Yep.
My biggest fear. Who's going to buy it? You know?
Who's going to buy it? How's it going to, you know, how's it going to get out there? I mean, there's so much that goes into seeing a dream come true, which now one of my dreams is coming true. And then now what? You know, that's...
Right. See, then, hence, fear of success.
Fear of success.
And fear of rejection
failure.
is number 4,
Right,
you know,
right.
and then fear of losing your identity.
Right.
And then fear of perpetual misery, which we hear a lot. People are scared, you know, and that's what I love about Donald's call.
Yeah.
Is because he went in going, what is this going to do for me? I'm going to hate it. I'm going to be miserable.
Right.
He walks in there going, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
Right. And also, you know, we were talking about earlier, it's, you know, we don't hear the positive aspects of getting sober, staying sober, living sober, having sober dreams come true. You know, it seems like a lot of people still have that stigma that sobriety is like, everything's gonna suck and nothing's gonna be fun, when it's quite the opposite. You and I have discussed this.
Yeah, but
times.
you know, it's really funny. You hear this a lot. You hear this from people that are using all the time. Oh, sobriety is gonna stink. Making it sound like their life of using is fun.
Right. Right.
You know, that's you're basically saying if sobriety isn't going to be fun, that my using is.
Right. Well, that
and
is. And
you wouldn't be calling or you wouldn't be seeking help if your using was fun.
Right. Right.
And let's go to Chris calling from Portland, Oregon. Welcome to Clean Radio,
hey, Chris.
Hi guys. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I love your show. I tune in on my way home from work, and I really appreciate your show. But I was calling because I heard Anita call.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say to Anita that good for you for choosing to live, and it's incredible that the decision that you made to stop drinking and the strength that it takes to do that on your own is amazing. And I can only say that because I did the same thing. I was a methamphetamine addict.
Oh.
And I had access to an incredible amount of drugs that cost me nothing, and that's a worst case scenario for a person, and I quit all on my own, but what I found out though is what I needed was a support system,
right?
And so what I wanted to do was encourage Anita to take the help that you guys were offering, because a person doesn't realize that they're going to need that support system.
Yeah.
And
you shouldn't have to do it by yourself, Chris.
No, and you need it coming from somebody that can relate to you.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Chris, so you've been sober over close to 20 years?
Over 20 years, yep.
Tell me 2 things right now two dreams that you've lived out in sobriety.
Good question.
2 dreams that I've lived out in sobriety.
Yeah, two things you always wanted to do that you've done.
In the 20 years that you've actually been living present sober.
Well, what I always wanted to do was have a family, and that's probably the most important thing.
And did it come true?
And yes, I have a wife and a son.
That's amazing.
Wonderful.
And the other thing that I wanted to do was was be close to my family, because as you can imagine, through my drug use, I kind of burned up all my bridges.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we do.
That's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I got them back just because I was not on drugs and I was myself.
That's amazing,
Wonderful,
Chris.
wonderful.
People love you for who you are, not for any other reason, just for being who you are. And whether it's drugs or alcohol, whatever kind of drug it is, it changes you. It makes you a completely different person. And when you can finally get away from that, if you're one of the few lucky ones that can actually walk away,
right,
you come back to being that person that you forget. And the people that are around you love you. They welcome you back with open arms.
And Chris, thank you so much for the call. Thank
Great
you so much
message.
for sharing your dreams with us. And call back anytime.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, guys. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that was Chris calling from Portland, Oregon. You're listening to KLEAN Radio in studio tonight with Erica Spiegelman. I want to get to a quick call. Let's get to April calling from Los Angeles. Welcome to KLEAN Radio, April.
Hi, April.
Hi.
How are you?
Well, I haven't been very good lately. I relapsed.
That's okay.
In January.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know how the months go by, and I was without my kids for a while, and I actually got them back in my lives, and I'm living with them again, and they know that I'm using. And the first time I lost them, I didn't think there was a worse pain. But then getting them back and losing them again because of my own actions.
April, do you have any resources, or are you learning any new tools? Do you have any access to therapy? Are you able to
treatments?
Uh-huh.
And I've been to meetings, and I had a great sponsor, but she kept getting a couple days and stumbling, and it's with the Pacific Group, which is like the best in Southern California. And she said, come back when you're serious. And I ask God every morning to take my will in my life, and every day I just ask, looking for a solution, but I just can't quit, and that's the only thing I have to do.
April, here's the thing. I love the 12 steps. I do. It saved my life. And I have a sponsor and saved my life. And then sometimes some of us need more help.
Right.
Some of us, that certain groups that like you were mentioning, aren't a fan of always our therapy, psychiatry, and other help. And some of us need it more. You know what, April? I get it.
But insurance covers a lot of treatment these days.
I don't have any, and I just got denied. I applied for Medi-Cal here. I got sent to GR and then applied for the insurance, and they denied me because I'm a single woman with, they were technically adopted my kids. So I don't have children. I don't have any injuries. There's nothing wrong with me. So, I got denied.
Right. And so there's tons of care in California. We're very blessed that we live in the state of California, where there's tons of help.
There's a lot of resources.
There's a lot of resources. April, and the reason I'm saying this is because sometimes when you can't stay sober, it's not your fault. You're going to meetings, you're doing everything you could do, but there's certain stumbling blocks.
And there's maybe some things you haven't processed, whatever it is. But there's some really...
I must be missing something, yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Sometimes certain meetings don't respect that some people need outside help. And they encourage you that the steps can cure you.
No, I've been encouraged also to go into treatment initially for at least 30 days to just remove myself from the environment and at least take that just take that little step back. And I just don't know where I can get in without money.
I'll tell you what, April. What we're going to do is I want you to stay on hold. We're going to get your information, and we're going to try to figure out a solution for you.
There's some resources.
There are resources. Okay, April.
Okay. Thank you.
And here's the thing, April. Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you used?
About 3 hours ago.
Okay. That's you. I'm guessing you still have stuff around the house.
I can't function without it, and that's the only thing I just. If I wasn't so damn lazy, I wouldn't have probably started again.
It's nothing to do with laziness, April. I wish this had to do with laziness.
Right.
If it was laziness, we'd be able to pick ourselves up by the bootstraps.
This is the correlation that you have made with this drug of choice, that this is the only thing that's going to give you energy. There's a lot of things in therapy, April, that would really be helpful for you to be able to hear, to see it mirrored. and there's resources out there. There's therapists that will, there's a sliding scale. There's a couple of places I'm thinking off the top of my head that have counseling available for you.
And Erica's going to get your number, April. And
Great,
one of the things I love about Erica is Erica helps a lot of people. She's, when somebody says she's an advocate for the cause, she truly is. Just hold on, April, okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And that's April calling from Los Angeles.
That's hard when you have no resources.
It's very hard when you call and you have no resources. And again, I love the 12 steps. Sometimes it's not enough for people.
Well, that's what I was talking about. And like, this is why I'm writing the book I'm writing, that we have to have a couple of different options.
Yes.
We have to be able to create our own plan.
And the 12 steps works with therapy.
Absolutely.
It works with psychiatry. It does. It works.
The key word is and.
And
There's
the reason I'm bringing
things.
this up is because I know the specific meeting that she's talking about where she goes.
Yeah.
And I know many people in that group are against medicine, are against, certain things.
Right.
And it bothers me to no end because people are dying because people decide that they're a doctor and they say somebody doesn't need a med.
Right. That's not good.
And if you just tuned in, you're listening to KLEAN Radio. Erica Spiegelman's in studio with me tonight. I just wanted to get let's go to Robert calling from Whittier. Robert.
Hey, Robert.
Yes, hello. I was just calling in to give indeed the lady that was feeling really desperate after being a few weeks sober.
Yeah.
I started drinking when I was 10 years old, and I quit drinking in 1987. I've been clean and sober for the last 27 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
I've been through hell. I've had everything you can imagine happen to me, death of both parents, losing jobs, etc. I survived.
Right.
The hard thing to do is to ask for help. She needs to get the help, whether it's professional or whether it's 12-step groups.
Right.
She needs to get it now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All she has to do is, even just a 12-step group, go in there, listen, and do like beginners should do.
Right. Be part of.
Yeah, be part of. Raise your hand and say, I need help.
Be part of.
And what you're talking about, Robert, I'm always saying, and I heard somebody say this years ago, he said the 3 words that alcoholics are predisposed to not saying are, I need help.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Perhaps the 3 hardest words from a drug addict alcoholic's mouth that could ever come. And there are a lot of people out there, Robert, listening tonight that are saying, that they don't know. I mean, the amazing thing about Anita is that she called in a radio show and said, I need help.
She did.
Right.
That was a great first step.
Amazing.
That's the most important part as far as I can see.
Absolutely.
Because my life has been different since being sober.
Let's get to that.
Yeah.
Tell us 2 things.
Sober dreams.
2 sober dreams that you've done, that you've accomplished.
That have come true.
In 27 years.
I can't do that because I've done so many of them.
Yeah.
Okay, give us a top 3.
Okay. I've climbed a mountain. Wasn't a big one.
But you climbed it.
Right.
Still a good goal.
I've been going to the beach on a regular basis.
That's good.
And I'm even getting ready. I'm 67 years old, and I'm going to try surfing this summer.
You know what? Go for it. That's awesome. I'll tell you what, Robert. If you decide to go surfing, I want you to be the KLEAN Radio surfer. We will figure out a way for you to, whatever you need on that beach, we'll support you no matter what.
Okay. When I get ready to actually go down and do it, I'll give you a call and let you know what's going on.
Give us a call the week before.
Give us a call the week before. Yeah. Patrick, everybody on our team, Anthony back there, we want to support Robert, the sober surfer. That is awesome. Because I'm scared to death of it, Robert. I am jealous of you being able to want to surf.
Well, I have Jaws dreams. So I've decided this year I'm going to put an end to them.
Okay, that's amazing. Robert, do you bowl by any chance?
No.
Okay, well, it's never too late to start. The reason I ask that, Robert, and by the way, thank you so much for the call. The reason I ask that is because at KLEAN Radio, we started a sober...
I heard this.
The
Can you tell me a little bit about it?
It started last Wednesday night. It's every Wednesday night in the Valley at Pins, and I hate saying the Valley. It's Studio City.
Okay.
Okay, it's on Studio City. It's on Ventura Boulevard. Come to Pins at 7:30 to 9:30. We had an amazing turnout. a lot of people. It's clean league. It's fully free. We got pizzas. We got whatever you want to eat. Not whatever you want, but we got a lot of things for you to eat.
But again, it's a good community to come and
it's
be part of.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah. Erica said she's going to be there this Wednesday night at 7:30. We're holding you to that. Everybody listening. Okay. And here's the thing. Whoever has the best score wins a date with Erica Spiegelman.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
And you heard it here first. I know a lot of people out there that are going to be practicing the next 3 days to get the best score. And Erica's blushing a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But you know what? Who wouldn't want to win a date with Erica Spiegelman?
Well, that is next week's show. Okay.
That's it. So it's actually a lot of fun. I beg of people, go to facebook.com/Clean Radio. Check out and go to @Clean Radio on Twitter. Check out your Instagram.
My Instagram or my Twitter, ericaspiegelman.com is my website.
And we're going to be posting pictures of this. You better be there Wednesday night because
I will absolutely
be there. It's pins in the valley. We have some good Jerry's while we bowl. It's a lot of fun and it's a clean league. And it's in the beginning of it, so it's not that serious yet. We want to find out who, but we're going to have really fun jerseys.
But Judah, this is what you and I have been talking about for a long time: is giving people a resource and a place to have fun, to enjoy themselves, and to feel like you have a little bit of a community, to meet new friends, to reach out. And with people that are working on their lives.
Yeah, so and you can't be too old.
This is fantastic.
You can be a little too young. No, I'm joking. Just come and enjoy yourselves. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's great because, people have this, one of the things we were talking about with sobriety is you get lonely.
Your fears.
It's been a huge topic through the show is how to get through these things.
So come put one foot in front of the other, walk through this fear, join a community, join a group of people, meet new friends, reach out. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and Pins has been amazing to us. And the reason I give you a shout out is because they've been amazing to us.
Cool.
Erica, your book's coming out pretty soon?
Yeah, in about 7 months.
Can people pre-order this book?
Not yet, but as soon as they can, I will come back on the radio show and we'll get that going.
That's a little presumptuous of you to think you're going to be back on when the book comes.
I'm coming back on.
You know what? You will come on back, and we're going to give away some books. We're going to buy them, give them away to our callers out there tonight. Because Clean Radio absolutely has the best callers in America.
Yes, they do.
I want to thank everybody that listened to Clean Radio tonight.
Thank you all for listening.
I want to go to cleanradio.com, find their old shows, find their new shows. I want to get better, and the discussion continues at cleanradio.com.
Are you or someone you care about addicted to drugs or alcohol? Addiction ruins lives and destroys families. Bring an end to the pain and suffering by calling KLEAN Treatment Centers. KLEAN has helped people from around the world break free by not only treating the addiction, but the underlying causes and providing vital aftercare so people can get clean and stay clean with no gimmicks and no false promises. If you need immediate assistance or just have questions, call KLEAN Treatment Centers for guidance. A much better life awaits.